that was what made Todd special. One of the many things that made him special. When he was talking to Todd about the community wanted to do something special for him, and he said, "No, I don't really think I want that." And that's when I said, "You've taught us, Todd. You've taught us how to treat people, and you gotta love us, and I'll take care of you." One of us was hurting, and this time it was Todd, and we needed to take care of him, and we did. I'm going to share with you the reading. Then Jesus told them this story. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep but loses just one of them. Then he will go leave the other 99 sheep in the open field and go out and look for the lost sheep until he finds it. And when he finds it, he happily puts it on his shoulders and goes home. He calls to his friends and neighbors and says, "Be happy with me because I found my lost sheep." In the same way, I tell you, there is more joy in heaven over one sinner who changes his heart and life than over 99 good people who don't need to change. Todd taught us a lot, and one of the things that I guess I would like to say is that we made these bracelets here to do the best for Todd. What we can do, and I think about this, today we're honoring Todd, but tomorrow we drive past the store, you look in that window, you see him, he's standing there talking, he's telling a story, he's going out of his way to make a difference for all of us, like he always did. That's what Todd did. He made a difference in people's lives, and what we can do is when we go past in the future, go past that store every day, we can think of what Todd would do. Who are we going to take care of today? Who are we going to go out of our way for? And make a difference in their lives. And then we can truly do what Sherry helped make for all of us. When we do that, we'll be doing it best for Todd.
I was feeling pretty confident until I got up here and saw you all. Thank you for being here today. We're Todd's kids. For anyone who doesn't know us, and I'm sure you all do, when we think of our dad, a million things come to mind. But we have decided that there are 3 key themes that are most prevalent in all of our lives. Number 1, he was a champion. He was always all in for his kids and his family. No matter what we were involved in, he always supported us 100%. He went above and beyond. He made sure that we had all of the things that we needed, plus some. Whether that be for sports, hobbies, farming, no matter what it was. He was all in for all of it, whether that was being in a field, in a show ring, at a sporting event, or even at home when we would talk about our faith. He helped us to improve and get better every day, always asking, what are we going to do next? He pushed us to be the best version of ourselves and to never quit midway through. For as much as he helped us, though, he was always so humble. He always wanted us to be the ones in the limelight. We won or we learned. In Dad's book, both of those often in our lives when dealing with anything difficult, we ask ourselves, what would my dad do? Our parents raised us to be strong, loving, kind, courageous, and capable. Our dad was the greatest man that we ever knew, and we loved him beyond measure. He left a beautiful legacy, and we will continue his legacy and live the way that he did each and every day.
But I think for many of us, there are so many stories that come to mind. I think of Uncle Todd. He could turn any day around in just a moment. And there are a few things that many of us, his nieces and nephews, have always admired about him. And I think that many of you in the room today probably share the same sentiment. He was fun. When I was little, it all started at the kitchen table, got me a Snoopy snow cone machine, and told me that ice was spicy on the tongue, which is a phrase in our house that has never, ever stopped. I always really enjoyed, I know many of us did, trips to see his pigs and rabbits, endless games of cards over the holidays, and somehow he had a special gift of making every Browns game joyous, no matter the outcome. And it's a pretty special person to do. But the bottom line is that you rushed to the door to see Uncle Todd, no matter what. He was a storyteller, as many of us know. He would have us kids surrounding him at any holiday, it never failed, telling us an elaborate story on the edge of our seats for one of us to lean in and say, "Really?" And then he would lean back and say, "No!" His laugh and his smile were priceless. I know that will never leave anyone here. He was the king of pranks, jokes, and nicknames. A term of endearment in the Hablitzel family is calling each other ding-donkers, which has made it to his great-nephews, my sons, that frequently refer to my husband and I as ding-donkers, and we will never ask for that to stop, I can tell you that. One Christmas in the Hablitzel $5 gift exchange, which is always very competitive because we are a competitive family, the cheese balls are very coveted. But I ended up with his gift. It was some lottery tickets, and for about 30 seconds, I thought I was a millionaire until I heard him laughing around the corner. I think we're praying lottery. And then, every time he would come to visit our house, my husband and I, he'd take a bottle of mustard, put it in the beer fridge, because you never know when you're going to need to grab the mustard for a hot dog during the game. But you have to keep one in there for overnight. But the bottom line is that he fiercely loved life and his family. He never hesitated to pick up the phone and call you to tell a story, a joke, or to ask you who was going to win on Saturday or Sunday. He was an example to all of us. We love him so much. Like was said earlier today, we'll see you when we get there. But until then, we're going to do it best for him right here. Thank you.
She was supposed to be the strong one. First of all, there's so many people to thank. The support, their knowledge, all the thoughts and prayers for Liz. It's been a real tough year. And the generosity in many forms to support Todd and the family. I have to say our family has been so simply overwhelmed and amazed by this community. And it's been said that you can find the greatest blessings during times of great adversity. And that's what we've experienced. So thanks to all of you, a younger, smarter, more athletic, better-looking brother. When he ran out of adjectives, he said that I was the older, shorter, and fatter brother. We shared a bedroom for approximately 15 years. 15 amazing years. And so just as our family has been simply amazed and overwhelmed by your love and support, I have been amazed that my brother, someone who never studied for a test, never picked up dirty clothes in our bedroom, never refilled an ice cube tray or changed a roll of toilet paper. How did that brother grow up to be the community leader? And a pillar of strength for all of us. He did. And I'm not sure at what point in time we stopped worrying about Todd and began to realize we should be more like him and learn from him. But that's what happened to me. And that's what happened to all of us. So Tracy and I are going to share a few stories, and there are many. We kept putting them in and taking them out, but this is the final version of some lessons that we learned from our brother Todd.
Right, and I'm Todd's little sister, Tracy. So the first lesson that we had to share with everyone is don't stress the small stuff. And perhaps don't stress at all. We have here a midterm class. Now, there were 4 of us. There were 4 of us in the house that went through 13 years of school in Harvard. And this is the only midterm that made it through to save. And this is why. He brought this midterm home from American government with a grade of a D. The comments were, the good news is, to date, Todd has exhibited no indication of chronic stress brought on by establishing high academic goals and then overworking to achieve them. It's here. The bad news was, Todd's grade reflects his casual approach to studying American government. Another example of not stressing came in junior high. At a time, and as a junior high teacher, I can tell you, this is a time that would be most devastating to students for years. In 8th grade, Todd wrote an essay, though, instead, about the funniest thing that had ever happened to him. And it was about shooting a basket for the wrong team in a basketball game. And we do have that to prove that he also not only understood the humor, but the teacher did. He also earned himself a very good on that report.
You know, Todd didn't always pay attention to details. He had so many things going on. I think part of it, he was engaged with so many people. But my mentor talked about his love for the Browns. And every Browns fan has a Browns jersey, their favorite player, and they have numbers. And the Browns, they come and go pretty quickly. So another one next year and another one there. Todd was a step ahead of the game here. He went early on with number 99 with the name, any name. Claiming that he was set for life and that he would never need a new jersey. But now we spent a lot of time in the hardware store as kids growing up, and obviously he spent many more years than I did. And as he would say, early on there was a power struggle for the business. He won, and I had to leave town. Working at the store, I was waiting on an elderly woman who came in and picked out an iron. And she said it was a gift, and she did a gift box. And we had this process where there was all the boxes and things that were on display. And I went back to find it, and I couldn't find it. It took a little while. Todd comes back, grabs an iron box, walks out there, and the lady puts it in there, and wraps it up. And just then, I found the correct box. So I come out just as the ladies, the elderly woman is thanking Todd and walking out of the store and very satisfied. She looks at Todd and said, "This boy needs more training." He had it all figured out until I had to learn.
project, which he often took pigs, and that was his big fair project. So Mom was hounding him to get his form in at the extension office. And on the day that it was due, Mom asked Todd if he had submitted the form. And Todd, very proudly, yes, he had done it, and he showed her the form. I took it up, it's all, we're good. Mom said, and so then Mom looked at the form, and she said, Todd, what did you sign up for? And very proudly, he said, genuine pig. Mom's response was, Todd, you signed up for guinea pig. So it only took a minute, and under one of the extension officers to change that very quickly.
Another lesson to Todd and Jeff's work is so beautiful and meaningful, but it's to always help others. And so just the process of driving by the store, we're going to have that. I think all of us in our family help others, but nobody did it like Todd. We're going to get better at it. He's always helping others. An example, if you walk down the street and saw a penny, lucky heads up, if he grabbed a penny, fortunate heads up. If it was tails up, he would turn it heads up for the next guy, right? And he loved helping kids of all ages. He helped so many with the Pinewood Derby projects and others. So many young people, young kids, come to the store and get help. I admire Todd. But he also, there's one story in particular I want to share because he got some help from others too. And these people helped form him. This is really my favorite story. And I will admit, I contemplated whether to tell us or not, but it snowed this morning. That was a message that needs to be in here. There was a snowy Friday night in his younger years where he was out and about in the town and he was at the hotel for a while. And he got the store truck and they were driving around in a car road, having a little bit of fun with the store truck in the snow. And there was heavy snow, so it was all piled up in the back of the hardware store. And there was an unnamed pallbearer also involved in this. Driving up and down the big hill of snow, just having fun, a little reckless, up and down. One time too many, and that truck tipped back on the back bumper. Nothing they could do about it. Sitting in the seat, looking at their So as Todd would tell his story, he would say, I knew this was not good. I knew there was going to be some big trouble. I was in trouble like maybe he had never been in before. Tomorrow was a work day. Dad was going to come to the store and see this. It was going to be a long day at the store. He needed some help from somebody to fix this. But he said, my biggest concern was how we were going to get out of that truck without the door slamming and hitting our heads. So anyway, the story, an important part of this long story is the next day in the afternoon, a gentleman from our community came in and pulled Todd over the side and said, you're in some trouble, aren't you? Yeah, trouble like never before. He said, you need some help? He says, yeah, I could really use some help. He says, put on new close at 6. I'll be over with my truck and some chain, and we'll get that, we'll fix that situation, get that trouble down. And so, that's what happened. And then the gentleman said, Todd, we've all been young once. And let me say, Todd knew how to be young better than most of us. But the message really is here, is that he helped others, but when he was in need, he got help from many people through this community as well.
Sorry, but we've learned lots of lessons from Todd, so you might have to get a hook for us. The next lesson we learned is say thank you a lot. Todd always said thank you and was grateful for what he had. He frequently quoted our grandpa Hablitzel, who used to say in gratitude, well, thank you, and if that's not enough, send me a bill. There was a time where the family And in that trip, they went to an Indianapolis Colts game. And Todd was really impressed with the experience that they had as a family at the Colts game. So much so that he sent a letter of gratitude to the Colts. A few days later, he received a phone call from a public relations representative. It went something like this. We don't get many of these. We usually only hear complaints. You're going to get a package from us. A few days later, Todd received a package from the Colts owner, Jim Irsay. The package included an autographed picture and a handwritten note and 6 $100 bills. The note read, "Next time you come to Indy, it's on me, your friend Jim Irsay."
You know, we all know Todd loved life. He made us all laugh a lot. And he made friends and likes amazingly quickly. And probably one of the best examples I could experience of that was in 2018, he and I went to the Cleveland Indians fantasy camp. For those that don't know, that's when old guys that want to be young again, they go and they together and they play with some major leaguers down in Arizona in spring training. And we were coached by Mike Hargrove and Dave Burba. And Todd was the favorite player of both of those gentlemen, and he still has a relationship today with both of them as a result of his week there. But he got to know everyone, and it was simply amazing. By the end of the week, he knew players, coaches, umpires, trainers, everyone knew Todd. And his moment of glory that he was most proud of was in a game against the major leaguers. He was facing his friend Dave Burba, and he got 2 strikes on him. He said, "They don't give you the best stuff." And Dave Burba said, "I'm going to put you away." You know, and he said, "I'm going to give you all I got." He was trying to win out. And he wound up and he threw the hardest ball that he did at camp. I mean, the hardest ball he threw to Todd. And Todd ripped the double down the left field line. It was amazing. Everybody. And I think everybody that hit the ball that hard on the left field line. It was amazing. They ran all the way to second. And everyone's just hooting and hollering. And so later he learned, he said, "God, it's amazing." He said, "I didn't do that." And he said, "You know," he says, "I have to be honest." He said, "I started my swing as blind note." Todd had the biggest hit of the week, and he also was a hit all week long.
Okay, next one is to live joyously. As you can imagine, we've heard a lot of Todd stories over the last couple days. But a common theme that we've heard from so many is, if I was having a bad day, I could walk into the hardware store and I would walk out feeling better. Spreading joy is what Todd did well. No matter where he was, he left his mark on people. In August, when he had his pulmonary embolisms, he totally left his mark on everyone at the Mayo Hospital in Scottsdale. The picture was painted, and it was a very, very grim one. By the grace of God and Todd's will to live, he made it through that. After he came out, the doctor went over to him and asked him how, in that situation, he could still be yucking it up with Tom, who was there at the time, going into surgery. Todd's answer was very simple and very sincere. He said, and you can hear him say, "Well, Doc, I figured that if that was the last memory anyone was going to have of me, I had 2 choices. It could be sad and somber, or a fun and happy one. Which one would you choose?"
You know, Todd always was a man of faith, but he frequently said in the last year that he knows God gave him pancreatic cancer because that was an opportunity in time to get closer. And he truly did that, which is amazing. Think about any of us, well, he dealt a card like that, he would say, still going to be it, but this is an opportunity to do something I need to, which is to get closer to God, which is truly amazing. He was always so gracious with caregivers, thanking them always, getting to know them, finding ways to make their day. And when Todd had the emergency surgery at the hospital, which is the gold standard for medical care, his experience was unbelievable. They were personally asking me when he was sedated or when he went to the surgery, do I need a chaplain? Do I need someone to pray with? And we prayed often. The situation was dire. We told him he wasn't going to make it. We prayed often. And this hospital made sure the chaplain was there. They constantly promoted the faith and praying at that time. So about 2 days into recovery, Todd was still sedated in asleep. He was getting a solid look over from the doctors. And they were down, like she was down looking at his legs and feet. And what I heard her say was, is he devout? And that whole thing, everyone was asking about faith. And I with Beth and Elise in the room, I was sure and confidently jumped in and said, yeah, Todd is very devout. And then Elise jumped in and said, she asked if he had gout. Now they say the hearing never leaves. And I bet my brother heard me say that. And just another example of me needing more training.
Okay. In closing, Todd has taught us all that it's the small things in life that made it worth living. He put his faith in his family before himself. He was so giving. And even towards the end, when the medical diagnosis was discouraging, he fought anyway. He was still dreaming anyway. And he loved anyway. As we move forward without our beloved brother, I would like to share the lyrics from Martina McBride's song, Anyway. You can spend your whole life building something from nothing. When storm can come and blow it all away, build it anyway. You can chase a dream that seems so out of reach, and you know it might not ever come to pass. Dream it anyway. You can love someone with all your heart for all the right reasons. In a moment, they can choose to walk away. Love them anyway. God is great, but sometimes life ain't good. And when I pray, it doesn't always turn out like I think it should. But I do it anyway. And now that Todd is gone, just like you would want us to do, we pray, we dream, and we love. But this is not how Todd would want us to end his remarks.
No, it's not. It's good, actually. You know, my brother had many talents, but he had no musical ability. But he played in the band anyway. Legacy too, with Clinton. And the cowbell was his instrument. And he often performed on stage with Jerry and Langston too. So Todd clearly wasn't gifted in everything he did, certainly musically, but he sort of overcame his handicap of being rhythmically challenged with his other powerful personal characteristics. So in closing, we've asked Jerry Whitman to ceremoniously ring the cowbell. Jerry, I'm not feeling it, and I don't think Jerry, let's have some more cowbell.
Want me to play just like Todd?
Yep.
Just like that.